They told us the killer had dreadlocks. The man in court has no dreadlocks. They arrested 2 people. One walked free with no explanation. They have the footage. They won't show it to you. 5 people threatened to kill him. Police did nothing. And if you think someone powerful is being protected right now, smash that like button, because I'm about to expose a cover-up so deep, you won't believe it's real that I have an interview from ENCA, where an official accidentally admits on camera why he died and who abandoned him. By the end of this video, you'll understand exactly who's being protected and why they're hiding the truth. Now play the video.
It's sad to see that he had to lose his life. This is an indication that in South Africa, those that have a fight in making sure that there's accountability actually place their own lives at risk. That yes, there was a protection order against certain individuals who were occupying that premises.
DJ Warras didn't file one protection order against one person. He filed 5 separate protection orders against 5 different individuals who were all connected to that Zambezi House building. 5 different times he had to go to court. 5 different times he had to present evidence of threats. 5 different times a judge looked at his evidence and said, yes, this man's life is in danger. These people are a genuine threat. We need to issue legal protection. That means there are 5 official court documents sitting in the system. 5 legal warnings that said DJ Warras is a marked man, and these 5 specific people are dangerous to him. The courts knew he was in danger. The police knew he was in danger because protection orders get filed with the police for enforcement. Everyone in the system knew that this man had 5 different groups of people who wanted him dead badly enough that he had to get the courts involved. The official continues.
You are correct, Pule, because if you look at the city of Johannesburg, they've got an internal investigation unit that would look at the hijacking of buildings. So it's quite concerning to establish that DJ Warras had to embark on this on his own.
This is the moment where everything clicks into place, and you realize this isn't just a story about police incompetence or bureaucratic failure. This is evidence of deliberate abandonment. Listen very carefully to what this official just admitted on camera. The city of Johannesburg has an internal investigation unit specifically dedicated to investigating hijacked buildings. Let me say that again so it's absolutely clear. There is an entire government department with staff and budget and resources and legal authority whose entire job is to investigate exactly the kind of criminal operation that DJ Warras was investigating at Zambezi House. This isn't some vague general police responsibility that could fall through the cracks. This is a specialized unit that exists for one specific purpose, to deal with hijacked buildings in Johannesburg. And the official just said, using very careful diplomatic language, that it's quite concerning that DJ Warras had to embark on this on his own. Let me translate that polite bureaucratic speak into plain English. A private citizen with a small security company was doing the job that an entire government department is supposed to be doing, and he was doing it completely alone without any help or support or protection from the people whose literal job description is to investigate hijacked buildings. Think about how insane that is when you really break it down. DJ Warras goes to Zambezi House to do a security audit. He discovers a major criminal operation that a radio DJ and part-time security company owner was left to fight a major criminal syndicate by himself, while a government unit specifically designed to handle this exact situation did absolutely nothing. Why? Why would a government unit refuse to help someone who is investigating exactly the type of crime they're paid to investigate? There are only a few possible explanations, and none of them are good. Either that unit is so incompetent they didn't know how to do their job, which seems unlikely after 20 years of existence, or they were scared of the criminals running that building and didn't want to get involved, which would be a catastrophic admission of how powerful these criminal syndicates have become. Or someone higher up in city government specifically told that unit to stay away from DJ Warras and let him work alone, which would mean this was a deliberate decision to leave him unprotected and vulnerable. The official continues.
So what you would begin to ask yourself is, was he not getting the necessary support from the internal investigation unit of City of Joburg? Because he was supposed to have been doing this with them.
He was supposed to have been doing this with them. That one sentence is the smoking gun that proves DJ Warras was deliberately abandoned by the system. The official is admitting that according to how things are supposed to work, DJ Warras should not have been working alone. He should have been working alongside government investigators from that internal investigation unit. They should have been there with him when he went to that building, They should have been involved in documenting the criminal evidence. They should have been coordinating with police to provide protection. They should have been using their official government authority to back him up and keep him safe. That's how the system is supposed to function when a private citizen discovers major criminal activity and reports it to authorities. But that's not what happened. DJ Warras was completely on his own from start to finish, and now an official is politely asking why he wasn't getting the necessary support, as if this is just some unfortunate oversight or bureaucratic mix-up. But let me tell you why DJ Warras didn't get support from that unit. And this is where we need to talk about what's really happening with these hijacked buildings in Johannesburg, because it's not what you think. The official continues.
Because ultimately, the city of Joburg is ultimately accountable for the upkeeping of property within the CBD. And this hijacking of buildings has been something that's been happening over years, as far back as 2005.
2005. 20 years. The official just told you that criminal syndicates have been hijacking buildings in Johannesburg for 20 years. And during all that time, the city has been aware of it. The city has had this internal investigation unit specifically created to deal with it, and the problem has only gotten worse. Johannesburg today has over 600 hijacked buildings, 600 properties that have been taken over by criminal organizations who pack hundreds of people inside and collect illegal rent payments in cash, while providing no services and maintaining no safety standards. After 20 years of knowing about this problem and having a dedicated unit to address it, the city now has 600 hijacked buildings generating absolutely massive amounts of money for criminal syndicates. Let me break down the economics of this for you so you understand the scale we're talking about. If each hijacked building has an average of 250 people living there illegally, that's 150,000 people across all 600 buildings. If each person is paying approximately 2,000 Rand per month in cash rent to the criminals who control these buildings, that works out to 300 million Rand per month flowing into these criminal operations. 300 million Rand every single month. Over a full year, that's 3.6 billion Rand. And if this has been going on for 20 years like the official said, that's 72 billion Rand that has passed through these hijacked building operations over the past 2 decades. 72 billion Rand. You cannot run a 72 billion Rand criminal enterprise for 20 years in the middle of one of Africa's biggest cities without having serious protection from the system. This isn't some small-time operation that flies under the radar. This is an enormous organized crime network that requires cooperation at every level to keep functioning. The criminals need police officers who will look the other way when complaints are made. They need city officials who will ignore building code violations and safety hazards. They need prosecutors who won't pursue cases aggressively. They need politicians who will block any serious investigations or reforms. Everyone has to be getting paid. Everyone has to have an incentive to let this continue, because otherwise it would have been shut down years ago. And now you understand why that internal investigation unit abandoned DJ Warras. That unit isn't there to stop the hijacking of buildings. That unit exists to manage the problem and make sure it doesn't get too public or too messy. Their job is to create the appearance that government is taking action while actually making sure that nothing fundamentally changes and the money keeps flowing. DJ Warras threatened that entire system because he wasn't part of it. He wasn't getting paid by anyone. He was just a guy trying to do the right thing. He walked into Zambezi House and found evidence that could expose the whole operation. He documented the drug lab and the brothels and started creating an official record through those protection orders. He was building a case that could potentially bring down not just the criminals in one building, but the whole network of corruption that protects all 600 hijacked buildings. That's why they let him die. That's why the internal investigation unit stayed far away and provided no support. That's why police ignored the 5 protection orders. That's why nobody helped him even though everyone knew he was in danger. Because helping DJ Warras would have meant taking on the entire system. And the people running that system decided it was easier to just let him get killed. The official continues.
We've seen hijackings of buildings, and the city of Joburg is not doing enough to ensure that property owners maintain their properties.
Not doing enough is the most diplomatic understatement you'll hear all year, because the reality is the city of Johannesburg isn't doing anything at all and hasn't been doing anything for 20 years. But now let's jump forward to what happened after DJ Warras was murdered. because this is where the cover-up becomes so obvious that even people who want to believe in the system have to admit something is very wrong. On December 16th, DJ Warras was shot multiple times outside Zambezi House and left to die in the street. Police arrived at the scene, they secured the area, they reviewed the CCTV footage from security cameras that captured the entire incident, and based on that footage they made public statements to the media describing what they saw. Deputy Police Commissioner Fred Kokana held a press conference where he told journalists that the CCTV showed 3 suspects involved in the killing. He said one suspect was sitting near DJ Warras's car before the attack, waiting for him to come out. He said another suspect was dressed in what appeared to be a security guard uniform. And most importantly, he specifically described the shooter as a man with dreadlocks.
When he left the building about to go to his vehicle, on his arrival outside, there was a guy wearing a dreadlocks. He shot, took out the firearm, shot at him. He tried to escape until he fell here where we are standing. And he had his firearm with him. Unfortunately, the people didn't take anything. But from the video footages which we viewed all over the place here, it came clear that there were about 3 people who were involved in the whole thing. But the one who shot him is having dreadlocks on the head, and the one who was with him after he shot, it's somebody wearing something that replicates security uniform.
That detail about dreadlocks got reported everywhere. Every news website and every television report mentioned it. Police are looking for a man with dreadlocks. The CCTV shows the shooter has dreadlocks. Be on the lookout for a suspect with dreadlocks. 3 days later, on Friday, December 19th, National Police Commissioner Fannie Masemola was in Pretoria doing an oversight visit, and journalists asked him about the DJ Warras investigation. Masemola made a very public promise on camera that got broadcast on national television. He said a suspect has been identified and will be arrested before Monday. He's a known suspect. If not today, then over the weekend that suspect will be arrested. Before Monday. That was his deadline given to the entire country. The top police commissioner in South Africa publicly committed to having someone in custody by Monday morning, which put enormous pressure on the investigation team because now they had to deliver an arrest or make their boss look bad in front of the whole nation. Monday, December 22nd arrived, and at exactly 2 o'clock in the morning, right at the very edge of the commissioner's deadline, police raided a hostel in Soweto and arrested 2 people, a man and a woman. The arrests happened at 2 in the morning on Monday, not on Friday when the commissioner made his promise, not on Saturday, not on Sunday during normal daylight hours, but at 2 in the morning at the absolute last minute of the deadline. 2 days later, on Christmas Eve, the 2 arrested suspects appeared in Johannesburg Central Magistrates Court, and this is where everything fell apart. The male suspect's name was announced as Victor Mthethwa Majola. The magistrate ordered him to remove the scarf and hoodie he was using to cover his face so he could be properly identified, and when he complied and his face was visible, photos and videos immediately started spreading across every social media platform in South Africa. And within minutes, literally within minutes, thousands of South Africans were asking the exact same question: where are his dreadlocks? Police had told the media for days that the CCTV showed a shooter with dreadlocks. Every news report mentioned dreadlocks. The whole country was told to look for someone with dreadlocks, but Victor Majola standing in that courtroom had no dreadlocks whatsoever. Not short hair where dreadlocks had recently been cut off, not any kind of dreadlocks at all, just completely different hair that looked nothing like what police had described. But it gets even worse because remember, they arrested 2 people, so where was the second suspect? The female suspect should have been standing in court next to Victor, but she wasn't there. Let me make absolutely sure you understand how insane this is. Police had enough evidence to arrest this woman at 2 o'clock in the morning from a hostel in Soweto. They had enough evidence to keep her in police custody for 2 full days. They had enough evidence to bring her to court and formally charge her with murder. But then standing right there in front of the magistrate, suddenly there's insufficient evidence and all charges are dropped, and she walks out of that courthouse a completely free woman. She just vanished, disappeared from the case entirely as if she had never been arrested at all. Now let me connect every single one of these dots and show you exactly what the cover-up looks like. DJ Warras files 5 protection orders against 5 specific people connected to Zambezi House who have been threatening him. Those 5 people have clear motive because he discovered their criminal operations. Those 5 people should be the prime suspects after his murdered. Police should immediately arrest all 5 of them for questioning, check their alibis for December 16th, see if any of them match the 3 suspects shown on CCTV, check phone records to see if one of them made that call that lured DJ Warras outside. That's basic detective work. But police don't arrest those 5 people. Police won't even tell the public who those 5 people are. Their names are being kept secret for reasons nobody will explain. Instead, under massive public pressure and facing a commissioner's deadline, police raid a hostel at 2 in the morning and arrest Victor Majola, who doesn't match the CCTV description at all, and a mystery woman who gets released 2 days later with no explanation. Why would police do this? Because those 5 people who threatened DJ Warras are connected to the criminal syndicate that runs Zambezi House, the same syndicate that's part of that 72 billion rand hijacked building operation, the same syndicate that has protection from people inside city government and the police force. You can't arrest those 5 people because investigating them properly would expose the entire network. It would reveal who's really running those 600 hijacked buildings and who's been getting paid to protect them for 20 years. It would expose why that internal investigation unit abandoned DJ Warras and why nobody enforced his protection orders. So instead you arrest someone else, anyone else who has even the slightest connection to the case. You do it at 2 in the morning right at the deadline so you can tell the media you kept your promise, and you hope that by the time this case actually goes to trial a year or 2 from now, the public will have forgotten all the contradictions and moved on to the next scandal.